Hi, I'm Mike Malinowski from AV Showrooms, and we're here in my listening studio today with Ted Denny of Synergistic Research, talking about cables and the other tuning products that have transformed this room. And we're going to start with the Galileo interconnects. These are balanced interconnects, and they are the top of the line of the Synergistic line, and we've listened to them, and I've had them in my room for a couple months and would like to give you some of my initial listening impressions. The first impression is how quickly you can tell the difference between the Galileo and the other interconnects. Often there's a time where you have to do an iterative back and forth on cables, and you have to make subtle changes with the cables and listen over a long period of time. With the Galileo, two things. One, instantly you can tell the difference, and two, you can tell absolutely quickly how incredible they are. But let's talk about specifically what do they bring to the sonic table. The first thing is incredibly low noise, vanishing low noise. To me, noise is that almost invisible grunge, that subliminal product that crushes detail, that removes the musical cues that make music very, very special. It manifests itself to me in sometimes a hardness, sometimes a roughness, sometimes in a long-term fatigue. These are dead quiet. These are the quietest cables that I've ever heard in my life. The second thing that is very, very obvious, and to me very, very important, is the sound staging. I love sound staging. I love the 3D holographic imaging. I love in your mind's eye when you see the singer standing in the room, when the speakers disappear. To me, that is part of the musical experience. Now, sometimes when you do that with cables, the cables add artifacts or add a hardness or an edge or something like that. Not so with the Galileos. They are incredibly neutral. They are incredibly smooth. They do nothing. They do not balance to coolness or a warmness. They are transparent, neutral. But being transparent and neutral, they let in an incredible soundstage. I love that. The third thing that just immediately hits you, and I don't quite know how this happens, is the Galileos light up the sound. It is as if you are at a play and the stage is dimly lit. You flip the switch on, the stage lights up. There's a technicolor lighting to the music, but it's incredibly natural. And again, I have no idea how a cable can do that, but it's smooth yet brilliant. And to me, that's an incredible combination. Now, all of those characteristics and tons more that we don't have time for really have to lead to something. What is important to you? Well, to me, does the component in question bring you closer to the essence of the music? Does the component in question bring you closer to the soul, to the heart of the music? Does it draw you in? And that's the Galileo's strength. There is anytime you're listening, when I'm listening to the Galileo, what I'm finding is I'm finding that my mind does not wander. I am finding that I am just drawn in to that music, and that to me is incredibly special. Now, have I listened to every cable in the world? Of course not. Nobody has. But I can tell you, over the past 20, 30 years of audio listening, Galileo is the finest interconnect that I have ever heard, and because of that, I have placed it at my most revealing source, which is the UHA tape deck, and it is spectacular. Ted, what makes the Galileo so special?
Well, the Galileo UEF is our first ultra-reference cable that does not have the old active shielding that we had been evolving since 1998. It was the first application for UEF technology in a no-holds-barred geometry where I utilized everything I knew about building a cable geometry along with the new technology of UEF on the shielding and the conductors using graphene, which is a near superconductor at room temperature, and UEF shielding to lower the noise floor and expand the soundstage to reduce the interaction between the signal traveling through the conductors and the dielectric, which in the case of Galileo UEF is either air dielectric in handmade air string geometries or pure Teflon. And this gave us a lower noise floor than what was possible using a 30-volt DC bias on the shield of the cable. We also lift the ground from the shield of the cable so that the noise picked up on the shield of the interconnects is not transferred to the component. Rather, a thin wire connects to the shield of the cable on Galileo UEF and pulls that noise from the shield direct to ground. So that makes the cable quieter. Each one of the cables has a UEF filter, not inside the signal path, but this approximates and actually expands upon the effect that you would get with active shielding, where the soundstage was open and layered. With UEF, it's even more opened and layered, but much, much quieter than we were ever able to achieve with using active shielding. And then they employ our most advanced UEF filters. These are little plugs. They're, in the case of Galileo UEF, they're either gold or silver. And you can change the gestalt or the yin and yang of the cable to rich, lush, and layered, or precise, airy, and detailed, depending which filter you put into the Galileo UEF. And this enables you to create a custom system match that's perfect for your system. So that's what goes into Galileo.
And it is absolutely spectacular. In addition to the Galileo, Ted has brought his bag of magic tricks and has done some exceptional stuff in the room. And he's going to tell you a little bit about what he's done. And I want to fill you in as to what I've heard.
All right. So I came in today. This system is the pinnacle of what you would consider to be state-of-the-art through traditional room treatments. What's the company that designed your acoustic?
Acoustic Science, Tube Traps, Art Noxon.
And who did the computer CAD work design?
Acoustic Science did
Acoustic
it.
Science
They brought
did
in computers, they did
So ASC
impulse
did
results,
the whole
they
thing.
did the whole thing,
right.
designed the room.
And when I came in, the room in some ways is the best I've ever heard. It's extremely linear, it's clean, it's quiet, but it also did what I hear in every highly damped room that I've ever heard anywhere in the world, with a pair of unilaterally placed speakers, unilateral triangle, and that is you get a deep center stage, but as the sound field moves left and right, it comes forward and into the speakers, so that you've got your speakers and your sound stage goes like this. What you want to have, you want to take that sound stage like this and move it out. Move it out so that it moves out behind the speakers, out into the room, and around your seated position. And the way I did that was using my standard HFTs, HFT 2.0, and HFTX.
Yeah, and let me add to that. Ted is absolutely positively correct. First of all, I love the sound staging. I love the ability to make the speakers disappear. But this room, for whatever reason, was limited to that. And Ted very clearly pointed that out. It had incredible depth.
I heard it in the first 30 seconds.
Answer is spectacular. A state of the art, I believe. I worked to that. And what Ted said is, I can make this better. I was doubtful. He played.
So what I did was, first thing I did was I had Mike sit down in the sweet spot. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I've done it a million times before. I do it at every trade show that I ever go to. And when you come and see Synergistic research at a trade show, that sound that you hear, that's basically what I did for Mike in this room. So the first thing I did was I placed an HFTX right in the center position between your two big tube traps. That's in the center position, equal lateral distance between your speakers. And Mike thought, well, what'd you hear?
Well, wait a minute. The first thing is I saw
I just
Ted
put one
walking
little
around
tiny one.
these little itsy bitsy things. It said, "This is going to knock your socks off." To be honest, I was skeptical. I was quite skeptical. The room was based upon tube traps and absorption and the physics of that. Ted starts putting these HFTs.
So the first thing was I
around.
put an HFT in the center. Mike said, I think I hear some more clarity. I don't know. So the next thing I did was I took two more HFTXs and I put them left of center and right of center stage. So he has 4 banks of tube traps behind, on the back wall behind the speakers. He's got in the corners, left center, right center, and center stage. So I put one in the middle section in HFT-X left center and right center. He heard it. He immediately heard, at that point with 3 HFTs in those center positions, we immediately heard greater clarity, more inner detail, more focus, and the sound stage that was coming forward in the left and right channel started to pull back behind the speakers where it belongs in a more natural presentation. Okay, my first HFT placements in the room was the HFT-X in the middle, and I started out with an HFT-X here and here. I later determined that for timbral accuracy, I would change out the HFT-X here and here for an HFT 2.0, and that made the sound richer and fuller without sacrificing the focus and detail that we got with this single HFT-X. And then at the top of each tube trap, I placed standard HFTs as well as around the room, and 2.0s off in the extreme corners. Everywhere else, pretty much, we placed standard HFTs, a standard HFT 2.0 at the bottom position here, and on the speakers, HFT-X below the tweeter, standard HFT at the bottom on the ports, 2.0s on the side, standard HFT at the back, and an HFT-X on the top. And this is part of our new HFT speaker kit. You buy one speaker kit for one speaker. You got 2 speakers. You buy 2 speaker kits. Everything is in there to make your speakers disappear with easy to follow instructions.
Yep. And as he added these, and we were doing this using a master tape, so ultra high quality, incredibly low noise, very large sound stage. And as Ted put these around, the room literally, in your mind's eye, started to expand. The height, the depth, the speakers started to disappear, and over a period of several hours, the room changed its acoustic properties. What he was what I can tell you is what he was doing made a significant change in the soundstage. What he was doing changed the walls. What he was doing expanded the room and made the speakers disappear more and more.
It took about 45 minutes to place about 25 HFTs around the room. And when we got done, we had a sound stage that was no longer locking into the big Wilsons. It had moved back, it had opened up, it was layering, it was imaging on all axes, top to bottom, left to right, front to back. And with orchestral pieces, we were getting a sense of decay into a large concert hall in the listening room, not just in a neat little window behind the speakers, which is not what live music sounds like. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I put the new HFT speaker kits on the big Wilsons. Put an HFT-X below the tweeter and a standard HFT at both bass ports at the front of the speakers. What did you hear when I did that?
The answer is the speakers. It almost as if the speakers ceased to appear. The sound just became seamless from one side of the room to the other. When we started this, I never would have believed this, and I'm open to this, having been in this audio world for 20, 30 years.
Yeah, you know that you can't just prejudge something.
You can't prejudge something. However,
playing with it.
Did I believe that these small little devices would have this much effect? To be honest with you, I didn't. Yeah. The answer is they do.
Then I put the HFTs on the sides of the speakers and an HFT at the back of the speaker and an HFT at the top of each speaker. And with each addition, the soundstage opened up, decoupled more and more from the speakers, and put it at the top. We got more height. When I got done, the speakers were completely disappeared. I was not hearing sound localizing in the left and right channel as it went hard left and right, as it did when I got here. And by mixing in 2.0s with standard and X's, we got a perfect timbral balance in the room. It wasn't bright. It wasn't dark. It, just dialed in completely. The last thing that I did was add my new SR25 25th anniversary power cord to the United Home Audio tape deck, which I'm getting one myself here real soon. And everything that I did in the room with the HFTs was amplified dramatically. Lower noise floor, more separation, more natural presentation of space. That was my take.
I absolutely agreed. It took all the elements that we talk about. It took the noise floor lower. It took the sound stage, made it better. It took the imaging, made it sharper. It literally was the cherry on top of the sundae. It was a spectacular addition to the system.
I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to coming back and putting my new Atmosphere X interconnects and speaker cables into this system, tying them all together with a Synergistic Research Active Ground Block SE, and grounding all of your components to the Active Ground Block SE, and hearing what it is that we can do there.
One, I certainly can't wait, and two, I cannot, if this is just a one segment, 2 or 3 pieces of the Synergistic Research system, I can't imagine what
I'm
the
also
full
going to
is gonna
bring in
do.
an Atmosphere XL4.
And
And then when we're done, I'm going to put everything back to where it was, and you will not be able to believe that that was the sound that you had before, because it will be this is one of the world's best systems, and it's going to perform at a significantly higher level when I'm done and be maybe the best system in the world. So, yeah.
I can't wait. I know this is a YouTube video, but if you were here in the room, you would have the same goosebumps that we are having right now.
The system is
spectacular.
amazing. Absolutely amazing. I hope you can listen at home with your high performance headphones or in your high resolution audio 2-channel system, because this system is spectacular.
We're about to listen to music from the amazing United Home Audio deck that was incredible to begin with, which Ted has upgraded.
Yeah, I put the Galileo UEF interconnects, balanced interconnects on this, and the new Synergistic Research SR25 power cord. That's our 25th anniversary power cord, delivering power to the United Home Audio deck, which I'm proud to say I'm on order for one of his top-of-the-line decks and should have it by June. And that'll be my reference system in California, and I'll show you the system with that very soon. So, and Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about your amazing system, the rest of your amazing system.
In addition to the United Home Audio deck, first of all, the room is acoustic science designed and treated with tube traps and their entire treatment for the building of the room. Turntable, Walker Proscenium 5 turntable, clear audio statement cartridge, and it all feeds into Tenor electronics, which I have just found over the years to be absolutely spectacular. The phono, preamp, power supply for the preamp, all feeding into the monoblocks, 350 high power monoblocks, and ultimately the Wilson Alexandria 2 speakers. And that is my system.
Feels as good getting used. Yeah, just keep on using me. Yeah. So you use me. Oh, till you use me. Yeah, my big brother sat me down in a room and he talked to me. That I ought not to let you just walk on me. And I'll show you that well. But when that song was through, I said, brother, if you only knew, you wish you were in my shoes. Yeah, you just keep on using me.